Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are going to be chilling here for a while. This amount has dropped a little bit. We're making a little bit of money, and we're spending down our debt. That's the important part here. I want to check in, what is currently expensive? Small arms? Okay, we've got a lot of market access issues. I don't think these are quote-unquote real market access issues. I think this is, there's a lot of infrastructure lack there, but that's mostly to do with qualifications. And we got some universities going. We'll probably need more, but that will help our qualifications over time. Great Britain is activating conscription? Oh, right, they're fighting China. Okay, sure. So in that case, if they're fighting China, are we going to participate? No, is the answer. We are not. Will this bankrupt us? Maybe. That's a hard maybe. I would really prefer if Britain would just chill for a bit. What is their infamy at, anyway? Their infamy is reputable. So they're barely getting any infamy for all their shenanigans. Okay, that's fine. Russia is also apparently involved here. This would be such a good time for us to declare independence. Like, right now, if we could. Unfortunately, we can't declare neutrality here. I saw that there was a comment on the last video about declaring neutrality in the existing diplomatic play. You can't do that. That's not a thing that you can do. We're already backing one of the sides automatically, and so we're just in this. This would be the moment that I would coattail an independence war in, like, Europa or something like that. This would be ideal, because they're fighting Russia and China. Those are not hugely powerful nations, right? But they have big numbers on their side. Together, they're going to be a bit of a challenge for Britain. And if we were to declare independence right at this exact moment, this would be magnificent. We can't. That's not how this game works, which is a bold choice on the part of the designers of the game. It's definitely interesting. Like, I feel like this is putting a little bit too much power into the hands of the great powers. Now, to be clear, if you're puppeted to a great power, it should be difficult to get out of that system. But there needs to be at least one more lever to pull, in my opinion, because it's too easy right now for great powers to just ignore their puppets and not have to deal with them. That's what I'm feeling like anyway at this moment. So I think that's the case right now, where great powers are going to need to be able to, well, puppets of great powers need to be a little, they need to have tools to be a little rowdier, is what I'm thinking. So anyway, this war's gonna break out, and we're not going to participate in it. We can't afford to participate in it. We need to be paying down our debts. And the question is Russia and China going to cut off our market access by a bunch? Maybe. That is a hard maybe. So the question is, do we go bankrupt here? Possibly, but if so, it's all Britain's fault. Like, the entire situation here is Britain's fault. If we didn't have the puppet relationship, we would be fine. So the question is, how do we break free? Well, there's exactly one way. Because I don't see any situation where we would be able to demand independence and get it diplomatically. There doesn't appear to be any way to make this actually happen, which is mostly fine. That's understandable that would be the case. I get that. The thing that I find very strange is that there isn't some sort of a mechanism for us to, like, start a faction against Great Britain. That's what I'd really like to see. What if we were able to diplomatically convince all of these little guys, what if you were to come with us when we declare independence? And then suddenly we'd have all of this on our side, including Burma, the Sikh Empire, everything over here, maybe even Persia. And then we'd be like, when we break away, you guys can all be independent. and then we conquer them afterwards. But we don't tell them that part. So it would be something like that. That's what I would really like to see here. So that you have states like Great Britain with an over-reliance on puppets like this. Puppets need a way to fight back against the great powers. And that way would be banding together. As it sits right now, there's not really a good way to do that. Yes, you can break free, especially if you get somebody like France to help you. But as of right now, it's tough. There's no doubt about that. Now we're working towards getting there. And we'll be able to eventually. The question is, can we before the end of the game? And the answer is probably. Our main issue still boils down to the fact that England is taking so much money from us. Like, we are full-on bankrolling England, right? And there's not much we can do about that. Other than pay down our debt. That's about what we've got. And so that's what we'll do. We are slowly working on our private constructions here. I say slowly. That is a fair amount of construction that's happening. So that is good. But yeah, I really do feel like there needs to be some diplomatic mechanism to talk to other puppets. So like these guys, they are also in the same situation. They're a puppet of Great Britain. There needs to be an interaction here to like form a coalition with them to break out. And of course you would require particular relations and things like that. But if you were able to have a situation where they have low relations with Britain, which you might be able to sabotage over time, and if they had high relations with you, so essentially if they like you more than they like their overlord, and you both have the same overlord, then you can join a coalition and then present your demands as a group to Great Britain, who would be either like, okay, that's a scary coalition, and back down, or they would say, screw you, that this is the more likely option. They would say, screw you, we're going to fight you, and then they fight us. But we would fight all of this as a block. And so suddenly Britain would have a really hard time actually dealing with it. As opposed to right now, where if we were to just declare independence, every single one of these would be a front. And we'd be fighting against all of them. And Britain. And that's what's so tough here. So, yes, it should be difficult for a puppet to break out from a great power. Absolutely. This is the way that should work. The deck is stacked against puppets in favor of the great powers because the great powers made it that way. Absolutely. Yes. However, the great powers should also, to some degree, fear their puppets when their puppets are too powerful and too numerous, which isn't really the case in Victoria right now. That's my current opinion on this matter, and for now, it is what it is. So there's no real point in continuing to talk about it, I don't think. These trade routes are unproductive. We do need to continue to work on our economy, of course. And we're definitely working on that. We're making about 50K per week, which isn't awful. We are definitely spending down our debt here. And we're probably going to spend nearly this entire episode working on this. So every million is currently about 10 weeks. Okay. So we're getting like 5 million a year. That's going to be a while. That said, the debt snowball will begin, and we'll start paying off this interest, and we'll make it quicker and quicker. So I think that we just stay like this for a good long time. I'm going to bump it up to speed 5 here, because we're just going to be chilling and paying off debt. That's the idea here. Market access is potentially problematic, and we may have to do some infrastructure construction, but I really feel like the problem here continues to be qualifications. Indeed. Mostly. Okay, so there's mechanized workshops unlocking. That's wonderful. What do we need next? I feel like we can't really afford reinforced concrete. Throughput Does throughput increase the amount of input goods or only the amount of output goods? I think it's only output goods, and I think that the input goods are not increased with throughput, if I recall correctly. So let's go ahead and work on reinforced concrete here. That should be fine. Our GDP is kind of leveled off right now, but a big part of that is our market access issues. Down over here, sure, rubber plantations. Cool. And baking powder was just unlocked. So let's go ahead and do a rubber rush over this way. That'll be fine. And I also want to hop over into our buildings. We'll get baking powder here. Beautiful. Textile mills can go up to sewing machines. Absolutely do it. Mechanized looms? Wonderful. Mechanized workshops? Do it. Auto-expand all of this. I don't know why our auto-expands keep turning off on us. That's a little strange and seems to be happening since the latest patch. Reinforced wooden ships seem like we should do it. Even if it's not necessarily profitable at this moment, it will likely get that way. And market squares appears to be profitable. We'll see how real that is. Of course, we could go down to nitroglycerin here. And I think we're going to do it. That will increase the mortality rate in our mines, which isn't ideal. But it'll be fine for now. Okay. Anything else that we want to turn up here? No, that should be good. Rubber rush. Yes, we already knew that. Okay. That's definitely an improvement. 70k? I like it. That's really solid. I'd like to get to the point where every week this interest number is coming down by 1. That would be really nice. Okay, we're now at 100k. I love it. We are negative on our authority, and that is noted. We can't really do too much about that right now. This trade route is unproductive, so we'll cancel it. Cool. We're about to hit 200 million in the GDP. Our GDP is solidly correcting. I like it. So that's looking good. China is embargoing Great Britain. Okay, that'll hurt us a little bit. 251? Hang on. That went down by 3k. Is this not updating? Okay. It's still 251. I think it does update. But yeah, that's definitely dropping. But like I said, we're mostly going to be spending this episode paying down our debts. That's the idea here. Colonial affairs. Okay, I don't care about that. We are at 25% literacy. That is creeping upward, so that's good. And I'm hoping that those universities are doing their jobs. I think that they are. It is a lack of qualifications, right? Doesn't have the funds to hire anyone. Really? I don't know about that based on the cash reserves, but okay, I guess we'll hire people. In which case, if that's happening, then we should subsidize all of our railways and put them on government run. So we put them on government run, we subsidize them like that. That should improve our market access across the board in locations with actual infrastructure problems. So that should be good. Yeah, that puts us up to 131. That's a solid improvement. 238 is our interest cost now. I love it. Our interest prices or rather our interest expenditures are definitely going down. Return state diplomatic play against Mexico? Oh my, okay. Have fun with that. So that's all well and good, right? The real question now, as we work on reinforced concrete, is when are we going, or rather, what are we going to go for next after reinforced concrete? War propaganda? War propaganda seems pretty good, actually. We'll think about that. for the time being, we are spending this down at almost 200k a week now. So this is really, really, really good progress on getting rid of our debt. We can bring that up by a decent chunk, almost double. So yeah, 89.7 and 233k. Now 232k. And still 232. Okay, I was hoping it would have gone down there, but it's going to be going down by 1 most weeks now. Beautiful. So our interest payments are decreasing. And this is looking very good. We're still constructing at a reasonable rate due to our private construction, to be clear. That's still going reasonably swiftly. So even with our construction paused, we are still expanding our economy by a pretty decent clip. I do really like this private construction system. I wish that it was a little more clear with how we pulled out of the investment pool with the government constructions. I don't fully understand that. Some of our government constructions appear to pull out of the investment pool, but by no means all of them. So it's a little bit more difficult under this system to optimize the use of the investment pool as opposed to the old one, but I overall think that this is an upgrade. And once I fully wrap my head around the way that the investment pool works, it should be fine. Against the odds, huh? Radicals from discrimination. I'd rather not have radicals, is the thing. We have a lot of radicals, no doubt about that. Our standard of living is non-great, and I would like to address that. Our government legitimacy is only 84 at the moment. Is there anything that we can really work on here? There is the option of propertied women. Okay. We could go up to a monarchy. I mean, that is an option. But it's probably not a great one. No doubt about that. I'd like to get at least some schools going. But, I mean, it is what it is. We're at 25.1% literacy, and literacy is improving. It's not amazing, but it's improving. So we're now paying down over $1 million every month on our debt. That is looking really, really solid. We're up to 285k, and we're still paying 213k in interest. So I'm really, really happy about how this is going now. The main question is, once we get our debt paid down, will we be able to construct full bore and still make money? That is an interesting question. We do have a bunch of steel mills being built in our private constructions. So there's one here, one here, one here. We've got iron mines. We've got some logging camps. We've got some coal mines. I'm not seeing any glassworks right now, but there have been some in the past. So in theory, it might be okay. We're making now almost 300k, and that debt snowball is really starting to roll. Actually, I think it'll be fine. We should consider dropping some of our less productive consumption taxes. All of these are actually quite productive. We'll keep them for the moment. Okay, so that looks fine. We're at 300k. We have 77 million in credit left, and we're paying 202k in interest per week. That is a lot. Rifles are now unlocked. Cool. So we should definitely head over to our arms workshops here and start making rifles instead of muskets. Auto expand the shipyards and the glassworks. I don't know why some of these are turning off. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. Just leave it on auto expand. Modernizing the arsenal, huh? Work on the tech instead. Okay. We know we're behind England in tech, right? Absolutely. And we need to get a little bit caught up in terms of that military tech. 48-44? Yeah. The real question here is, can we get France on our side? If we can, I think we can win that. But we need to get France on our side, and we need to do it fairly quickly. We would have to... Can we activate our conscripts before we are in a diplomatic play? No. So we'd want to immediately activate our conscripts when we did that. Do we still owe Britain the obligation? We don't. Okay, that's good to know. And we're now at 3,300,000, yeah. So this is going very quickly. This is now at the point where we are paying down $1 million every 3 weeks instead of every 4. Beautiful. 191K in interest. So there's still a decent amount of interest to be worked on there. Checking in here, market access has dramatically improved. Glass is expensive, and we do have some turmoil going on. We have some unproductive trade routes that we will go ahead and get rid of. Fantastic. The real question now is, in these states with low market access, do they need infrastructure? And the answer is yes, they do. So we would put in something like this, although there is that one in Bihar already, so we would get rid of that one. Okay. So that looks solid. And I'm just checking through here. There is a glassworks here now, so I do like that. Excellent. Have any of these turned off their auto expansion? No. That's good. And actually, covered markets is now worthwhile for us to switch to. And we definitely will do so. We're very close to public trams being worthwhile. Let's do it, actually. It's slightly negative, but once the price of transportation comes up here... Okay, this is very positive. But once the price comes up here, it should be okay. Checking in on our unemployment, the unemployment numbers have grown. We obviously do need to continue our construction, right? As a hypothetical, if we were to resume, what would that put us at? And I didn't mean for that weak tick to go through, but that's okay. That puts us at 102K. That's not that bad, actually. This trade route is unproductive. In fact, these trade routes are unproductive. There we go. Cool. Market access here is low, and that is mostly due to infrastructure. Sure. So we know that once we've paid down our debt, we'll be positive then. That's a really good sign. At least we'll be mostly positive. By the time we get that paid down, with our GDP growth, I do expect it to be the case. So that's looking really good. Really, really good indeed. The next question is then, when do we pull the trigger on the independence diplomatic play? I would love it if we could make a coalition with some of these. But we can't. That's not a current option. Like, for example, these guys are currently wary of us, so we would need to raise up their attitude by improving relations with them. Or actually, relations are good. It's the attitude that's wary. But, like, for example, these guys are cautious. These guys, though, they're genial and amicable, so they might be willing to join our coalition if, you know, the game allowed that sort of thing. That would be the sort of idea for that. And I'd really like to see Paradox doing that sort of thing. That's kind of inspired by the vassal faction system in Crusader Kings 3. I think it should work fairly similarly. So we're currently making almost 400k. That's very, very solid. And interest is down to 150. 147. That's going down by like 2k per month. And reinforced concrete just finished. Okay, so with that being the case, do we go for war propaganda? That's 15 years out. So probably no is the answer. Electric telegraph? I don't know about that. In society, we could go down to here for additional minting. We do make a lot out of minting. And loan interest rate would be nice too. That would be 14 years though. And we should probably do things that are a little bit more efficient in terms of how long they take to research. So that would be things like, for example, shift work for the economy of scale building level cap. That would only take 35 months. So let's go ahead and do that. That sounds good to me. Excellent. We're down to 314. That did drop somewhat, but it fluctuates around. And that's still reasonably positive, but it did definitely drop. And I'm wondering if that is a delayed response to this. We're probably better off being on personal transportation only. Yes, confirmed. We are better off on that. Okay. These paper trade routes are continuing to be unproductive, so we'll get rid of them periodically. And as another hypothetical, if we were to resume right now with the increased throughput, negative 270. Okay, noted. So with the increased throughput, that does mean that it takes more input goods. That's what that means. Good to know. So 137K in the interest will be nice, but by no means will that fix the problem. By no means. Increased discrimination, huh? Let them protest where they want. The armed forces aren't going to be happy about that, but whatever. The armed forces can do what the armed forces are going to do. It is, at this point, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to finish our debt snowball here, getting rid of the rest of this credit. We got the hard part done. Getting rid of the rest of this credit should be nice and easy. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you, that's the wrong button, a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadow Wolf, MLohan80, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Rogue Corvid, Anna the Elephant, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.